I never imagined my marriage would end on Christmas Day, right at the dinner table in front of everyone. Daniel's best friend, Liam, leaned over with a smug grin and whispered, "Told you she'd cry. Women are so predictable." Daniel slid the divorce papers toward me like I was nothing. But instead of tears, I calmly reached into my bag and placed a neatly wrapped gift in front of them. "You might want to open this together," I said. Their faces dropped as they peeled the paper back. What they saw left them frozen. Hit subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next. 1 year before that unforgettable Christmas dinner, I would have told you my marriage was fine. Not perfect, but fine. Daniel and I had been together for years. I thought people just grew apart sometimes and then found their way back. That's what love was, holding on even when things felt a little off. I still planned our Christmases, birthdays, and anniversaries, even when I was the only one making the effort. I told myself that he was just busy, that his late nights at work were for us, that this was a phase and we would push through it. My best friend Sophia wasn't so sure. She noticed things I was too afraid to see. "Emma, have you ever wondered why you're always alone at these events? Why he doesn't seem happy to come home?" I waved her off. "Sophia, stop. He's just stressed. His job is tough." She gave me a long, sad look, but didn't push me. I think she knew I wasn't ready to hear the truth, but the signs kept stacking up. Daniel's late nights became a regular pattern. He started leaving the room to take phone calls, whispering like he didn't want me to hear. And Liam? His best friend suddenly became a constant shadow in our lives. He was always around, smiling, laughing, dropping these strange little comments that didn't make sense at the time. "I bet you're good at pretending, huh, Emma?" he'd say with a smirk, then quickly change the subject when I asked what he meant. Daniel's mother, Margaret, also grew colder toward me. She used to offer polite smiles, but now she barely looked at me. When I'd invite her over for dinner, she'd always decline or find some excuse to leave early. She used to call me dear, but now it was just Emma, flat and distant. One day, as I tidied up Daniel's jacket before laundry, a folded receipt slipped from the inside pocket. I almost threw it away, but something about it stopped me. I unfolded the small piece of paper and read it slowly. Dinner for two, a fancy restaurant. A date I knew too well, because it was the night Daniel told me he had to work late. My heart thumped painfully in my chest. I sat down hard on the edge of the bed, staring at the receipt like it was written in another language. It couldn't mean what I thought it did, right? When Daniel came home that evening, I tucked the receipt into my sweater pocket, practicing how I would ask him without sounding like I was accusing him. We sat down to dinner, just the two of us. The silence was thicker than usual. I finally forced the words out. "Daniel, I found this in your jacket." I gently slid the receipt across the table to him. He barely glanced at it before laughing. "Oh, that? It was a work dinner. One of the clients wanted to celebrate after signing the contract. It's nothing." His voice was smooth, steady, so confident that I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. "Okay," I whispered, pushing my food around my plate. But a strange unease settled over me that night. Why didn't he tell me about it? Why hide it? Why did Liam's face flash in my mind as soon as Daniel spoke? Sophia wasn't surprised when I told her the next day. "Emma, I'm worried. He's lying to you. I can feel it. Something's off. Please don't just let this go." But I did. I let it go. Because I thought love was supposed to survive small cracks. The cracks, however, weren't small. They were deep, growing, waiting to swallow me whole. And as Daniel pulled further away, and Liam's presence loomed larger, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something big. Something that would shatter everything I thought I knew. But I wasn't ready to face it. Not yet. Stay with me. I'm just getting to the part where the truth starts to show its face. The next morning, I found myself staring at that crumpled receipt again, like it was a puzzle I couldn't solve. My mind kept spinning. Was it really just a business dinner? Was I overthinking? Daniel had always been good with words, good at making me feel like I was just being silly when I questioned him. Maybe I was overreacting. But still, I needed to ask one more time. I needed to be sure. So that evening, as he settled into the couch, scrolling through his phone, I gently sat beside him. I smiled carefully, hoping to keep things calm. Daniel, that dinner, the one on the receipt, are you sure it was work? He didn't even look up. Emma, come on. How many times do I have to say it? It was just business. You worry too much. I hesitated. My throat tightened. It's just, why didn't you mention it to me? You always tell me about client meetings. Daniel laughed, shaking his head. Emma, it was last minute, and besides, it's not a big deal. You're really making this into something it's not. I wanted to push harder. I wanted to ask why the receipt said table for two, with a note that said, wonderful night, let's do it again soon. But his calm voice made me question myself. His casual smile made me shrink back. Maybe I really was overthinking. Maybe I was being the jealous wife he always promised I'd never become. A few days later, Liam came over like he always did. He laughed loudly, sprawled across the couch like he owned the place. He glanced at me, his eyes gleaming with something I couldn't quite name. You know, Emma, some people don't want to know the answers to the questions they ask. It's easier that way. Less painful. I blinked at him. What's that supposed to mean? He just smirked. You're sweet. Too soft. Just enjoy what you have, yeah? No need to dig too deep. He clapped Daniel on the back and changed the subject, but his words echoed in my head long after he left. I started to feel like I was living inside a house with invisible cracks. Every smile, every joke, every quiet night was resting on a foundation that might crumble at any moment. Sophia wasn't convinced either. She kept pushing gently. Emma, I don't trust him. I can help you find out the truth. Please, let me. I hesitated. I wanted to trust my husband. I wanted to believe that Liam was just being cruel for fun, but deep down, something inside me whispered that I was being lied to. So I told Sophia to watch, to follow, just in case. One evening, Daniel said he had a late meeting again. His tone was so casual, so smooth, like this had always been his normal. I nodded, pretending to believe him, but I texted Sophia the moment he walked out the door. Follow him, please. An hour later, my phone buzzed. It was Sophia. Her voice was trembling. Emma, he's not at work. I stood up so fast I nearly knocked over the lamp. Where is he? Just come. You need to see this with your own eyes. I don't want to be the one to tell you. My stomach twisted into a painful knot. My heart was pounding so loudly I could barely hear her next words. Emma, please come now. You're about to see something that will break you. I didn't even grab my coat. I just ran out of the house, into the cold, my breath sharp in the winter air. The truth was waiting for me, and I wasn't sure I was ready to face it. Stay with me. What I saw next changed everything. You won't believe what came next. I drove as fast as I could, Sophia's words bouncing around in my head. You're about to see something that will break you. I wanted to turn back. I wanted to pretend everything was fine. But my hands wouldn't stop gripping the steering wheel. My feet wouldn't let me stop. When I pulled up to the restaurant, Sophia was waiting across the street. Her face was pale, her phone shaking in her hand. There, she whispered, pointing through the glass window. I followed her gaze, and my heart sank. There was Daniel, sitting at a cozy candlelit table with another woman. He was laughing, his face brighter and happier than I had seen in months. His hand brushed hers casually, like it wasn't their first time. Like this was normal for him. But what made my stomach twist even more? Liam was there, sitting at the bar just a few feet away, grinning, watching them like he was enjoying a private show. I leaned closer, trying to hear their voices through the glass, but Sophia quickly whispered, I recorded it. Listen. She pressed play, and I heard Liam's voice, clear as day. "She'll cry. Just wait until Christmas. It'll be legendary. Daniel, I can't wait to see her face when you hand her those papers. It's going to be priceless." Daniel chuckled in response, his voice soft but sharp. "She's so predictable. She won't see it coming." My whole body went cold. It was never just about leaving me. It was a game to them. They were waiting to humiliate me. They wanted to break me in front of everyone. They wanted to watch me fall apart. Sophia's hand touched my shoulder gently. "Emma, I'm so sorry." I swallowed hard, forcing the tears to stay put. "No," I whispered, my voice steadier than I expected. "I'm not gonna cry. Not now. Not ever. If they think they've outsmarted me, they've just made the biggest mistake of their lives." Sophia blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" I said, staring at Daniel and Liam through the window, "they've planned their perfect Christmas surprise, but I'm going to give them a Christmas they'll never forget." I could feel the heat rise inside me, not from sadness, but from something else. Something sharper, stronger. I wasn't going to crumble. I was going to build a trap so perfect they'd never see it coming. From that moment, I decided to play along. When Daniel came home that night, I greeted him with a kiss on the cheek like nothing was wrong. "How was your meeting?" I asked sweetly. He smiled, relaxed, no guard up at all. "Exhausting, you know how it is." "Of course," I nodded, pretending to believe every word. Over the next few weeks, I started paying attention to everything. His phone habits, his sudden trips, his casual lies. Liam kept visiting, dropping more of his smug little comments. "You know, Emma, life's full of surprises, just gotta be ready when they come." Oh, I was ready. I began quietly collecting evidence, texts, voicemails, photos. With Sophia's help, I organized everything, building a story that even Daniel's mother couldn't deny. Because yes, one more twist. I found out Daniel's mother knew the whole time. She knew about the affair, she knew about the divorce plan, and she approved. Her coldness suddenly made sense. She had already decided I wasn't part of their family anymore. But none of them knew that I had already started writing my own ending. Every fake smile, every quiet dinner, every Christmas decoration I carefully placed around the house. It was all part of the story I was preparing to tell. One they would never forget. Stay with me. Christmas is coming, and they're about to open a gift they never expected. You won't want to miss what happens next. From that night on, something inside me changed. I went cold. Not the kind of cold where you slam doors or shout. No, the dangerous kind. The quiet kind. The kind that watches and waits. I cooked dinner like I always did. I smiled when Daniel walked through the door. I even laughed at Liam's terrible jokes, but inside I was building a storm. Daniel didn't notice the difference. If anything, he thought I was being more agreeable, more predictable. Just as he expected. Liam's teasing grew louder. "You're glowing, Emma," he would say with a smug grin. "Must be all that peace and quiet in your marriage these days." I wanted to slap him. But instead, I smiled sweetly. "You know me, Liam. I always try to keep the peace." I began collecting everything. The screenshots of late-night messages, the receipts from dinners he claimed never happened, the photos Sophia took of Daniel holding another woman's hand. Even the voice recordings, Liam's mocking promises that I would definitely cry on Christmas. I stored it all carefully in a folder, backed it up in multiple places. Every evening, I pretended to be the perfect wife. Every night, I worked quietly with Sophia, making sure I missed nothing. The gift I was preparing for them wasn't just a box. It was a perfectly wrapped story, with a beginning, middle, and an ending they would never see coming. One day, as I was organizing the evidence, I overheard something that made my stomach turn. I was supposed to be upstairs folding laundry. But when I came down to grab a glass of water, I heard Daniel and Liam talking in the living room. They didn't know I was listening. "She won't last 5 seconds when she sees the papers," Liam chuckled. "You're right," Daniel agreed. "Emma's weak. She always wants to fix everything. She won't fight back. She'll just cry like we planned. I gripped the kitchen counter to steady myself. Their words didn't cut anymore. They just confirmed what I already knew. But then Daniel said something I didn't expect. Mom says it's the right thing to do. I should have left her years ago. She's tired of pretending Emma belongs in this family. His mother knew. All along she had known. The cold looks, the distant conversations, the way she excluded me from family decisions. It all made sense now. She wasn't just indifferent. She wanted me gone. I pressed my lips together, fighting the urge to storm in. But I reminded myself, it wasn't time yet. Instead, I quietly returned upstairs and added another note to my folder. His mother's approval of the divorce plan. Sophia was furious when I told her. She's part of this too? She snapped. Emma, this is bigger than I thought. I know, I said softly, and that's why we can't rush it. I need them all to feel safe. I need them to believe I'm still clueless. So I played my part perfectly. I joined Daniel's family for dinner. I laughed at his mother's cold jokes. I helped decorate the house for Christmas, carefully placing ornaments, pretending I didn't notice when Daniel and Liam whispered behind my back. Liam's eyes would flicker with excitement whenever he saw me. She's going to fall apart, I once overheard him whisper. I can't wait. I could wait. Every moment I stayed quiet, every fake smile I wore, I was buying time. Time to make sure my evidence was airtight. Time to prepare the perfect gift. Time to ensure that when Christmas finally arrived, I would no longer be the woman they thought they could destroy. Stay with me. Christmas Day is near, and so is the moment they'll open the gift that will shatter their world. A few days before Christmas, I asked Mrs. Carter to meet me for tea. She agreed reluctantly, her cold gaze fixed on me like I was a pebble stuck to her expensive shoe. We sat at a small cafe near her home. I served her tea with shaking hands, not from fear, but from the weight of what I was about to do. Mrs. Carter, I began carefully, I know about Daniel. I know about the other woman. And I know that you've known all along. She didn't blink. She simply dabbed her napkin at the corner of her mouth and said flatly, You were never family to me anyway. You were convenient, polite, that's all. Her words stung, but I forced myself to smile. I sipped my tea calmly and whispered, You'll see what kind of family I am soon enough. Her eyes narrowed. She couldn't read me. And that terrified her more than my anger would have. I left her sitting there, confused but too proud to ask questions. Exactly what I wanted. That night, Sophia and I met at my house. She helped me pack the final pieces into the small, beautiful gift box. Inside were neatly folded copies of everything. The hotel receipts, the text messages, the voice recordings, even the printed photos of Daniel's late-night business dinners. But the final blow? A signed statement from Daniel's business partner, confirming that Daniel had been embezzling money for months to cover his secret expenses. And Liam? Evidence that he helped Daniel forge signatures to push the divorce forward faster. I added a handwritten note on top. I hope this is legendary enough for you. I closed the box carefully, tied it with a beautiful red ribbon, and placed it in a silver gift bag. Sophia stared at me as I finished. Her hands were trembling. Her voice was soft but firm. Emma, are you sure about this? Once you give them this, there's no going back. I paused, staring at the gift in front of me. I could feel my old self, the Emma who forgave, who bent until she almost broke, fading away. I looked up at Sophia, my voice steady. Let's see if they bet on the right woman. The next day, Daniel seemed especially smug. He kissed my cheek on his way out, not realizing I knew his schedule now better than he did. Liam called me later that afternoon. You still excited about Christmas? His voice dripped with fake sweetness. It's going to be unforgettable. Oh, I'm counting on it, I said softly, tightening the ribbon on the gift box. When I hung up, I caught my reflection in the mirror. I barely recognized myself, not because I was broken, but because I had rebuilt myself into someone they never expected. On Christmas Eve, Daniel's mother called. "We'll have dinner at 7 sharp tomorrow. Don't be late. I want the whole family there." Her tone was cold, as usual, but I could hear the quiet satisfaction underneath. She thought this was the last time she'd have to see me. I smiled to myself as I answered, "Don't worry. I wouldn't miss it." That night, I sat quietly in my living room staring at the Christmas lights, breathing in the calm before the storm. Sophia texted me. "You ready?" I typed back, "More than ready." Tomorrow I would sit across from the man who thought I would crumble, across from the best friend who treated me like a game, and next to the woman who believed I never belonged. Tomorrow, they would serve me divorce papers. They would expect me to cry. They would expect me to beg. But instead, I would give them a gift, one that would change everything. Stay with me. Christmas Day is here, and so is the moment they realize they bet on the wrong woman. Christmas Day arrived like a quiet storm. The house was warm with holiday lights, the table beautifully set, and the air thick with secrets. Daniel's family laughed and passed dishes around as if everything was perfectly normal. But I wasn't the same Emma who used to sit silently at these dinners. Daniel sat across from me, his smile wider than ever, almost like he was enjoying an inside joke. Liam was right beside him, his eyes dancing with excitement. He kept glancing at Daniel like he couldn't wait for the show to start. Daniel's mother, Mrs. Carter, barely looked at me, but there was a hint of satisfaction in her smirk. I knew she believed this would be the last Christmas I would ever sit at her table. After dessert, Daniel finally reached into his jacket and placed a thick envelope on the table in front of me. His hand was steady. He didn't hesitate. "Merry Christmas, Emma," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I think it's time we both got what we really want." The room went quiet. All eyes were on me. Liam leaned in and whispered to Daniel, but not softly enough. "Told you she'd cry. Women are so predictable." I looked at the envelope, then at Daniel's smug face. Slowly, I reached into my bag and pulled out the small, beautifully wrapped gift I had prepared. I placed it on the table in front of them. "You might want to open this together," I said calmly, pushing it toward them. They exchanged a quick, confused glance. Liam was the first to rip off the ribbon, clearly impatient for his victory lap. Daniel opened the box and pulled out the first document. His smile slowly disappeared. Liam's eyebrows pulled together as he read over Daniel's shoulder. The color drained from both their faces. Inside the box were photos of Daniel with his mistress, hotel receipts, copies of messages that spelled out every lie he told me. Voice recordings of Liam's bet, clear as day. "She'll cry. Just wait until Christmas. It'll be legendary." But that wasn't all. At the very bottom were the legal documents. Papers proving that months ago, I had quietly secured ownership of several key assets. Through careful legal maneuvering, I had protected my share of Daniel's business and gained access to accounts he didn't even realize I could touch. Accounts that now belonged to me. Daniel's hands trembled as he flipped through the documents, his voice stuck in his throat. His mother, Mrs. Carter, finally leaned over to look. Her face went pale. She grabbed one of the papers, reading it quickly, and her jaw clenched in horror. I watched them, their perfect little plan collapsing in front of their family. "Merry Christmas," I said softly. Without waiting for anyone to speak, I stood up, smoothed my dress, and walked out of the room. Behind me, I could hear Daniel calling my name, panic cracking in his voice for the first time. Liam sat frozen, unable to process what had just happened. Mrs. Carter's sharp voice cut through the silence, demanding to know how I'd done this. But I didn't stop. I walked calmly out of the house, each step feeling lighter than the last. Sophia was waiting for me outside in her car. She grinned as I slid into the passenger seat. "How'd it go?" she asked. I looked straight ahead, breathing in the cool air. Better than I imagined. They didn't see it coming? I shook my head. They bet on the wrong woman. As we drove away, I felt something lift off my chest. I wasn't the broken wife they thought I would be. I wasn't the predictable woman in their cruel game. I had written my own ending. And it was just the beginning. The front door slammed behind me, but Daniel didn't wait long. His heavy footsteps pounded the driveway as he chased after me, his voice sharp, desperate. "Emma! Emma, wait!" I didn't stop. I didn't even turn my head. He caught up and grabbed my arm, but I gently pulled away, meeting his frantic eyes with calmness he didn't expect. "Emma, you don't understand," he gasped, completely unraveling. This can't be real. You can't just walk away like this." I tilted my head slightly. "Why not? Isn't this what you wanted? You served me divorce papers. I'm simply giving you what you asked for." His mouth opened, but no words came out. For the first time, Daniel was speechless. "You didn't just embarrass me?" he stammered. You destroyed me." I shrugged lightly. "Seems fair." His panic deepened. "Where did you get those documents? How did you—" I leaned in, my voice just above a whisper. "I had a lot of late nights too, Daniel. Turns out when you stop trusting someone, you start noticing everything." His face collapsed into his hands. "We can fix this. Please, don't do this." A bitter laugh almost escaped my throat, but I swallowed it. "It's already done." I walked away, leaving him trembling in the cold. Inside the house, Liam was in meltdown. His voice echoed from the dining room, furious and sharp. "You let her play you. You said she wouldn't fight back. You said she'd crumble." Mrs. Carter tried to calm him, but her voice wavered. "We can still fix this. We'll handle her." "She's already handled us," Liam snapped, slamming his fist on the table. The beautiful Christmas dinner lay untouched, the centerpiece now crooked, the plates forgotten. Liam's phone buzzed over and over. Word had already started spreading. Emma's little gift box hadn't just exposed their affair. It had made its way to Daniel's business partners, to their legal team, and to a few very important clients. The recordings, the fraud, the betrayal. It wasn't just a family scandal anymore. It was public. And Liam's reputation? Hanging by a thread. While they panicked, I stayed silent. I didn't answer Daniel's calls. I didn't respond to Mrs. Carter's messages. I simply packed a small bag, called Sophia, and stayed at her place for a while. But what Daniel didn't know was that the gift was only the beginning. He thought the bomb I dropped was the evidence and the financial blow. But I had been playing a much longer game. Months before Christmas, I had hired a private investigator, not just to follow Daniel, but to trace every shady business deal, every questionable signature. I had quietly forwarded that information to the right authorities, and the investigation had already begun, long before I handed him that gift. Daniel wasn't just facing divorce. He was facing charges. Liam's business was now being questioned by regulators, his clients pulling out one after another. And Mrs. Carter? The woman who thought I was a temporary inconvenience? She was now watching her precious family name unravel in front of the entire community. One afternoon, as I sat on Sophia's couch, sipping tea, she asked, "Do you think he knows yet? That it's bigger than what you gave him at Christmas?" I smiled faintly. "Not yet. But he will." She shook her head in disbelief. "You planned this perfectly." I set my cup down, feeling the first taste of true peace in months. They thought I was weak. They thought I was predictable. Sophia laughed softly. "What are you going to do now?" I looked out the window at the quiet street, my voice steady. Now I live. For me. I don't need to fight anymore." But inside, I knew this wasn't fully over. There were still pieces moving, still traps quietly unfolding. Daniel had no idea that his real nightmare was only just beginning. Weeks passed, but the storm Emma unleashed never settled. In fact, it only grew worse. Daniel thought the worst had already happened on Christmas Day. He was wrong. One morning, as he desperately tried to repair his sinking company, a sharp knock echoed through his office. When he opened the door, two uniformed officers handed him a court summons. His face drained of color as he scanned the papers. Multiple charges: fraud, financial misconduct, breach of contract. It wasn't just his marriage that was gone. His business, his name, his future, everything he'd built on lies was crumbling right beneath his feet. And at the center of it all, Emma. Emma had sent the evidence, carefully documented and cross-referenced, to Daniel's former clients, business partners, and law enforcement. She hadn't rushed her revenge. She'd built it, layer by layer, like a carefully stacked house of cards, just waiting for him to breathe too hard and knock it all down. Daniel called Liam in a panic. "They're coming after me. The contracts, the false signatures. They know. They know everything." But Liam had his own nightmare. His name was now trending online, every news outlet talking about his cruel Christmas bet. A leaked voice recording, courtesy of Emma's gift, had gone viral. Women's rights groups were protesting his company. Sponsors and partners were severing ties overnight. His carefully curated public image was gone in a blink. "I'm losing everything," Liam whispered, stunned. "They're walking away from me like I'm poison." Daniel's breathing turned shaky. "You said she'd cry. You said she wouldn't fight back. You said she loved you too much to hurt you," Liam shot back. "You underestimated her. We both did." And Mrs. Carter? She tried to rally what little support she had left, calling old family friends, trying to silence the rumors. But Emma had already made her final move. She donated a large sum, money she'd secured from the assets Daniel thought he still owned, to a women's shelter that Mrs. Carter's charity board despised. She made sure the donation went public with a simple note, in honor of the women who were told they were too weak. Mrs. Carter's face was plastered across social media, tied to Emma's message. The board forced her resignation days later. Emma didn't need to scream, argue, or drag them through endless fights. She simply let their own arrogance destroy them. On a quiet evening, Daniel finally showed up at Sophia's house. He looked hollow. His voice was broken. "Please," he whispered to Emma at the door. "I lost everything. Emma, I'm sorry." She looked at him, her gaze calm but distant. "What are you sorry for, Daniel? For cheating? For lying? For betting against me?" His voice cracked. "For all of it. Please, can we start over? I don't care about the money. I just want you." Emma's lips curled into the faintest smile. "You only want me because you have nothing else." He fell to his knees. "Please, I don't know who I am without you." Emma gently knelt to meet his eye level. "Funny. I didn't know who I was with you." He reached for her hand, but she pulled it away softly. "I've already forgiven you, Daniel," she whispered. "But forgiveness doesn't mean you get to come back." He stared at her, tears finally streaming down his face, the reaction he had expected from her on Christmas Day. But now, she simply stood, gave him a small nod, and closed the door. On the other side, Sophia watched her carefully. "Are you okay?" Emma let out a deep breath. "I thought revenge would make me feel powerful, but it wasn't really about that." Sophia tilted her head. "Then what was it about?" Emma smiled gently. "It was about reminding myself I was never weak." The weight that had sat on her chest for years was gone. She had walked through betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak, and come out standing taller. Her revenge wasn't loud. It was precise. It was clean. It was complete. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories about strong women who rise above betrayal and heartbreak. Every like tells us you want more. Every share spreads hope. And when you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you'll be the first to hear more unforgettable journeys of courage, revenge, and redemption. You don't want to miss what's coming next.